Hey, what's going on guys? It's me, Eden. Welcome back to another video. Now, in case you weren't aware, we got a new episode of Miraculous Ladybug today, and that was Lies, the second episode of Season 4. It was pretty good. If you haven't seen it, highly recommended that you go check it out. Like usual, I jotted down some notes as I was watching, so I'm going to be going through those notes and just sort of talk about my thoughts on the episode and things I noticed. Just keep in mind that the next episode comes exactly 1 week later on the 17th of April, and that is the third episode, Gang of Secrets. So that is the next lineup. We got one more week for this month of new episodes, and then I guess we do have the English Shanghai special on the 16th, so if you're looking forward to that, there's that as well. But as far as new content, we have one more episode planned for the end of April. And that is as of right now. There could be a new one that's just not been announced yet, but as far as we know right now, Gang of Secrets is the last one for April. Now I'm going to be going in sequential order from the episode, so it should be pretty easy to follow, but without any further ado, let's go ahead and hop right into this video. So at the very start of the episode, Marinette was looking at the Guardian book, and she's like, I don't know what's going on. I can't understand it. It's all cryptic, and Tikki's like, well, yeah, we got to protect the secrets, right? Now here's my question, right? Aren't the Kwamis not supposed to like look at the book or know anything about the book? Like shouldn't Marinette be keeping like more like she knew this, right? Like she was with Master Fu when Tikki and the other Kwamis were like, oh, we gotta turn away, right? In Siren, right? So what's going on there? Like, did that rule just change with Marinette? Like, do they just not care anymore? I don't know. Now, Tikki says that Marinette's gonna find out the new power soon, so it looks like Marinette's trying to find out some sort of new power. Now, here's my question. Is this power related to the new Lucky Charm suit? Because we haven't seen that yet, so I don't know. Maybe that's what she's trying to figure out, and in the next few episodes we'll see that. I don't know, but we will be seeing it soon, and I'm dying to figure out what implication that suit has, because it's gotta have something, right? They gotta introduce some sort of new content, right? Now we see on the monitor this like news program about Adrien's life comes on, and Marinette starts swooning about him, right? Now keep in mind, at this point, this episode is a parallel to Truth, right? Truth and Lies is a parallel episode, which is really cool, and I'll talk about that here in a second. So Marinette swooning over Adrien, that happened before all of the events of Truth did. So, like, you know, I don't know if they just sort of forgot that Marinette's supposed to like Luca or whatever right now, or what, but just thought I'd point that out there, that yes, Marinette is swooning over Adrien, but that was technically before the events of Truth. Now, everyone sort of knew that Marinette still liked Adrien at this point, right? So it's not really any surprise, but I just thought I'd point that out. Now, I've got to say, poor Cat Noir, right? Like, come on, can't we just say Cat Noir deserves better, right? I know Ladybug's busy and she's like, I guess, watching the Adrien documentary or whatever, but like she should at least try to keep in touch with Cat Noir. Be like, hey, sorry I'm a little bit late, or maybe I won't make it today because I'm busy working on Guardian stuff, so yeah, you're just gonna have to go without me. Like try to keep in touch, right? Like you guys are supposed to be partners, right? And Marinette's supposed to be the leader, or I guess Ladybug. She's supposed to be the leader, right? She's not being a very good leader by keeping Cat Noir in the dark. So just saying, Ladybug, you should probably try to keep in touch a little bit more. And sort of touching on this point, Cat Noir was going around wanting people to become akumatized, right? You know, he met up with Mr. Pigeon, or I forget his name already. But he was like, don't you feel like a little distressed or something? Like even just a little bit? Like you haven't been akumatized in a while. And then Mr. Pigeon was like, oh, I've been in a good mood recently. He's like, oh, okay, well, I'll just leave you be then. Like, come on, Cat Noir. Like, you're just wanting people to become akumatized. Like, that's just... Ladybug needs to keep a better eye on Cat Noir and try to be a better partner. That's what I'm going to say with that one. Now, one thing that I thought was interesting is that somebody is changing the schedule for the fencing lessons. Now, this wasn't a translated thing, so some of the things I'm not going to cover on specifics because we don't have the official translation, and I don't want to accidentally like say something that's a little bit wrong because of a slight translation error. But what I will say is somebody is messing with the schedules when they're not supposed to be, I think, right? Because the fencing was supposed to be pushed up by an hour, but when Adrien and Kagami got there, it wasn't, or something's weird, right? Now, Kagami's mom says that it's the Adrien, or like that it's the Agrest's fault, right? Whereas Gabriel is saying that it was Kagami's mom's fault. So I don't know. Something's fishy here. It's either Kagami's mom doing something, or it's Gabriel doing something. Now, if we're just going based off of, the people that we know, my guess would be Gabriel, and he's trying to set something up. So what this could be hinting at is Gabriel trying to set up some sort of like evil scheme, very similar to what he did on Heroes Day, right? Like with the whole Lila buildup. He did very subtle things to Lila to tick her off, and then at the end, right, he just did this like massive plan, and it was a pretty big success, I would say, right? So what if he's trying to do the same thing with Kagami's mom, or just Kagami in general? Maybe for the finale. Now you could argue that, oh, maybe that was just for this episode trying to akumatize Kagami or whatever, right? But if they did like do something similar to this throughout the season, which would be very cool because it would be very subtle, but it would still show us like, it'd still give us little hints as to what Gabriel is doing. So it could be Gabriel setting up something big for the finale. So the finale could have something to do with Kagami's mom, which could be interesting. Now, up until this episode, I had known that I didn't like Adrigami, right? Nothing against Kagami necessarily. I just didn't like their dynamic and things like that, and I never really knew why. I can never put my finger on exactly why I didn't like it, but this episode sort of helped me realize why I don't like it as much. And that is because Kagami tries to push Adrien in ways that he doesn't want to be pushed, right? Kagami has this vision of who Adrien is. Adrien is not actually who Kagami thinks he is, right? Adrien's sort of playful, he's got all these fun attributes, but Kagami's like, no, that's not who you are, right? And that sort of got to me, and that made me realize, like, oh, shoot. That's what Kagami thinks Adrien is, but she's not actually looking at Adrien. She's looking at what she wants to look at and what she thinks Adrien is. So she's not actually taking into account the real Adrien, which I think is why I never really liked the dynamic, and I could never really see that, and I guess I never really realized until I saw this episode, and that just finally clicked, and I was like, oh, that's why I don't like it, because, Lucanette, I can be down with it. I like Luca. He's like, we don't know too much about him, and he's just there for that chip, right? That's the only reason he was introduced into the show. We might learn more about him this season. That's great, but their dynamic was fine. But Adrigami, it really didn't go with me very well, and I think that is why. Now again, I have nothing against Kagami, right? Like obviously, they're just teenagers and they're still trying to figure things out, so that's bound to happen. But that's just why I never really liked their dynamic, is because Kagami was misunderstanding who Adrien was, and she wasn't taking, she thought she was taking the time, and she thought that she knew who the real Adrien was, but in reality, she had this false misconception of who Adrien was based on some preconception that I don't really know of from this point in time. But, that's just, I guess that's just why I didn't like it. So I'm glad that finally cleared it up, because I knew I didn't like Adrigami. I just never really knew why, and I couldn't give a reason. But now I can officially say I have a reason for why I don't like Adrigami very much. Now at the end of the episode, Adrien and Kagami do eventually break up. Adrien realizes that he just doesn't like Kagami, he still likes Ladybug, and Kagami does realize this as well, or at least to some degree. Like she thinks that he likes Marinette, right? She doesn't realize that he actually likes Ladybug, she just guesses that he likes Marinette, right? But either way, Kagami knows that he's lying, I guess is the way that she puts it, about something. She doesn't really know what. She's just like, alright, well, clearly you're lying to me about something, and she thinks and my guess would be that she thinks that he likes Marinette still. Or it's not still, because he never really did. So with them both realizing this, they mutually break up, but here's the thing, right? Adrien asks, well, can we still be friends, Kagami, right? The pretty standard thing, I would say. And then Kagami is like, yeah, I don't know about that one. So she's just like, when I'm ready to see you, I will let you know. And then she leaves, and then, dang. Adrien just got denied a friendship or something. I don't know. It's gonna be interesting because, we had seen Kagami and Marinette and Kagami and Adrien getting closer in season 3, which was great. It was nice that Marinette made a new friendship and whatnot, right? But now we're gonna be seeing this weird dynamic between Adrien and Kagami throughout the rest of the season, where it's just like it's awkward between them, right? Because they can't really touch on this again, because since this was essentially just like the first episode of season 4, they're not really going to touch on it and make any development, I don't think, that's worthwhile throughout the rest of the season. So it's just going to be in this awkward limbo mode between Kagami and Adrien. So it's going to be interesting to see their dynamic, and I think maybe some of the characters may pick up on this and be like, yo, what's going on between you two? And then maybe we'll see some episodes based around that. So I don't know. Now, I've got to say, I was not expecting things to go back to normal as soon as they did. And what I mean by normal is the normal ships. Like, Marinette still likes Adrien, and Adrien still likes Ladybug. Like we're back to that already. And I was thinking, like, maybe we'd go the entire season with the transition ships. Because we could do that, right? Like if they set it up at the finale in the first episode, we could see that, and then they'll just end it at the finale, right, of season 4. But they didn't. They cut it off on the first episode, which I knew if they were going, they had to cut it off on either the finale or the first episode, right? Or I guess in this case, the second episode too. But it's really just the first episode part 2, right? So I knew that they would have to do it on the introduction or the finale, and I've said that before. Like you can go back through the videos and find that. But I didn't expect it. I thought we were going to see an entire season of the transition ships, but I think the reason, it makes sense why they didn't, and the reason is because the love square and the dynamic between the 4 characters, and by 4 I mean 2, just Ladybug, Cat Noir, Marinette, and Adrien, the dynamic between those is really what drives the show, right? For viewers like me who watch it, you know, for the plot, yes, but since there's like very little plot, I get my enjoyment out of seeing the interactions between the characters, right? I'm not a big fan of the transition ships, right? Because I just focus on the OTP. So the big driving force for me with this show is the love square dynamic, right? And if they take that away for an entire season especially, that might draw people away from the viewership. So it makes sense why they wouldn't want to extend that out over the course of a season, even though they could have. They were just like, all right, let's cut it off as soon as we can to get back to the thing that the majority of people, not saying everybody, because I know that there are like Luke and it, shippers and Adrien shippers out there, but the majority of people ship one of the 4 love square ships, right? And the longer they stay away from that, the more distant people watching feel from the show, because they're like, this is not going in a direction that I like to see. So that's why they cut it off so soon. I wasn't expecting that, because I can sit through an entire season, because they don't really do too much, right? It's like, it's very minimal. They don't get very much, like they focus so much on the individual battles of the episode. Like, we don't see too much build up of the characters in the beginning. Like, we do see some, right? And in this episode especially, but a lot of times they focus mainly on the battle. So yeah, they don't really have episodes that don't have a battle. I don't think we've ever seen an episode that did not have a battle, unless if it was like a multi-part episode. But even then, I don't know. I'm pretty sure every single episode had a battle of some kind, right? So I don't know. But regardless, things have returned back to normal, and I thought that was interesting. I wasn't expecting that. So it makes me wonder what the finale of this season is going to be like. Is that going to be when Adrien and Marinette get together? I don't know. Could be. Although, if there's anything that they should have learned, it's that relationships don't work, right? The only relationship that's going to work for Marinette and Adrien is one where they both know who they are. So in my mind, at least thinking about this in a position where I was Marinette or Adrien, right? Like, there's just, like, you know, being a superhero takes too much. However, if you both know who you are, then there's no need to keep that secret. In which case, it's fine. Because then it's not like, oh, sorry, gotta go. You could be like, hey, look, I just saw Nakuma, we gotta go, right? So that's the only reality in which case this works, which, again, proves my point that the OTP is the OTP, right? So, again, not saying that a reveal is necessarily going to happen, but I'm saying that in order for Marinette and Adrien to have a successful relationship, at least a meaningful one, there has to be a reveal in order for it to officially work, right? Because I think Marinette realized that she can't have a relationship, it's just too much work, right? I don't know about Adrien, right? Adrien maybe realized that, I'm not sure. But I'm just saying, I think it would make more sense for them to get together after a reveal than it would for them to get together before a reveal. And as we know, a reveal is something that is unlikely to happen, at least for now. So I don't know. It's just sort of like what you think, I guess, at this point, because people have been like, oh, there's gonna be a reveal this season forever. Even I used to think that too, right? But that's just unrealistic, I think. I think it's gonna happen closer to the end of the series, which is unfortunate, if it happens at all. So we'll just have to wait and see. Now, I really liked this episode because it was a parallel episode, right? We have never seen an episode like this, at least as far as what I can remember, right? Because we saw clips from Truth, and we saw clips from this episode that were in Truth, and that was just really cool. I really liked how they did a parallel episode. Now, typically, if this was a show that had continuity, we would have just seen the first half of things, and we would have probably seen some of the Truth battle a little bit, but then it would have ended there, right? And then the next episode would have picked up right off after Truth was defeated, or, you know, the finale of beating Truth or whatever, and then we would have gone straight into defeating Lies, right? Instead of doing Truth in one episode and then Lies in another episode, even though, you know, it would have worked out similarly. But since they do this in a way that they can't guarantee that the episodes will be played in order, they had to put clips into both of the episodes to make sure that people could understand and follow the entire episode, right? So that way it just made sense if you weren't watching it in order. So I thought this was a really clever way to do that, because typically we can't really see two-parters unless if it's a finale, because you can't guarantee that they're going to be played in the exact order. So I just thought that was really cool, that they've sort of found a way to sort of make a two-part episode, and that was really cool. I really liked it. This was like a season intro, or a first season part 2 episode, and I thought that was really cool. So hats off to the team who thought of that. That was a good idea. Now, final thing I do want to touch on is that this was like an Adrien episode, right? We've sort of been wanting an episode that was focused on Adrien, right? And this was sort of that episode. Sure, we did see Marinette at the beginning and things like that, but I would say for the most part, this was an episode where Adrien was the main character, which is great, because everyone's been like, we want an Adrien episode. Now all we got to do is hope that they do this more. You know, like we want to see more Adrien, and this was really cool, so let's see more Adrien. That'd be great. So who knows? I don't know if they'll actually do more Adrien episodes, but I thought I would put it out there that this was sort of like the Adrien episode we've been wanting. Not fully, but it's an improvement. So let's hope that we get some more Adrien episodes in the future. I think they were maybe testing the waters with this one too. Since it was like a part 2, the first part being the Marinette version and then the second part being an Adrien version, they were sort of just testing the waters to see like, how are people going to perceive this? Even though everyone wants an Adrien episode, but the people who are watching YouTube videos on it, like the viewers who are watching right now, you are not the majority of the viewers of Miraculous. That's just not how it works. So, you know, they're testing the waters with the majority of the people watching. So we'll just have to wait and see. If this was a successful episode and maybe it was like the highest one where people were like, ooh, we love Adrien or whatever, right? Then maybe we will see more Adrien episodes. So something to keep in mind, something to hope for. And I thought it was really cool that we saw more Adrien in this episode. But yeah, those were my notes and thoughts and ideas about this episode. I really liked it. I thought it was cool. It was a new format that we hadn't seen before. I learned more about why I didn't like Adrien and Kagami. It was just, I don't know. Overall, I liked the episode. Not the best episode, obviously, but I did like it. So let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. I do want to hear it. Did you enjoy the episode? What do you think of my thoughts? What were your thoughts? Did I miss anything? Again, down in the comments below, I will be reading them. But yeah, that's going to be it for me. If you enjoyed, you can leave a like and subscribe for more content similar to this, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.
Mais Chloé, tu te tais maintenant. Chut, plus un mot, et je t'interdis de me regarder. Cache-toi.